what advice do you have for anyone, in terms of finding a way back from a tough situation or finding yourself, in the deep end and just, starting to make progress and, build your way out of that?
Hmm. That's a good question. I think that the first step is to build your level of self-awareness and to be honest with yourself about where you're at, what you want, and how hard you're willing to work to get where you want. If you're stuck in some kind of reoccurring loop in your life that you can't seem to get out of, most likely it's a hole that you dug for yourself. And some people may take offense to that, but in in my life, I've had uh, some fairly significant traumatic events happen in my teenage years and my early 20s, and some of those were beyond my control, and some of those were things that I did to myself to, like, for whatever reason, like I was just not in a healthy state of mind. And there's there's nothing, let me rephrase. Everyone has the potential to control their own reality. Everyone. It doesn't matter who you are or where you came from. You have the potential to create your own reality. You have to know where you're at, where you're going, and the level and the amount of work that you're willing to put in to get from where you're at to where you want to go. That's step one, having that level of understanding. Step two, the environment that you're in plays a huge role in the way that you live your life. So if you are doing the same thing every weekend, if you're hanging out with the same people, if you are staying in the same places and those things are not serving your best interests, cut them out, get rid of them. You don't, I think people have this misconception that for the friends example, if you've been friends with somebody for 10 years, like they're a good friend of yours. Like, time means nothing. You could meet somebody and know them for a week and have this immediate, deep, meaningful connection. Like it's like you've known them for years and you've only known them for a week. You could have a friend that you've had for 10 years and you're very comfortable with them, but they're shady and they treat you like garbage, and they, like little snide comments, and they're constantly putting you down, but they're your friends, so you're going to put up with it because you've known them for a long time. That's complete nonsense. You don't have to be friends with people that you don't want to be friends with. And the same goes for family. If you have a toxic family environment, get out of that environment. It's I don't understand why. I mean, I understand it, but for people who keep themselves in a toxic family environment where everyone's talking about each other behind each other's backs, or there's no boundaries, there's no communication, it's just arguing all the time, but it's your family, right? And you love them, and you gotta, put your family first. No, you need to put yourself first. Put yourself first above everything. Be selfish for as long as it takes for you to fill your cup, for you to have strong boundaries, for you to be able to effectively communicate how you feel to other people in a way that makes you feel better, in a healthy way, and in a way that other people can understand where you're coming from. And then at that point, consider being selfless. Because if you don't take care of yourself, who's going to do it for you?
Right.
Your friends, I mean, if we're using like my younger self for an example, if you're 25 years old, what do you think, your parents are going to take care of you forever? Are your friends just going to like be there forever while you just go around willy-nilly doing whatever you want and getting into trouble and you know, digging the hole for yourself? The deeper you dig the hole, the harder it's going to be to get out, but you can get out. All you have to do is rearrange your life in a way that sets you up for success. If you're miserable at your job, quit your job. Find another one. Like, don't quit. Like, if you got bills to pay, if you have rent, like, don't just walk into work and quit your job, but start putting in the effort to transition to a different job or a different career that you feel will bring you a sense of fulfillment more so than where you're at. If you're living at your parents' house and you are miserable because your family is just toxic and you feel like you're just emotionally and mentally drained every single day, okay, what are the steps that you need to take to get out of that environment as quickly as possible? If you're working a part-time job, do you need to get a second part-time job? Do you need to talk to some friends and see if you can, you know, rent a room in a house, or like sleep on the couch until you, like, your friend's living room, until you can figure it out? Like, what are the steps you need to take to get out of that environment? If you're hanging out with the same friends every weekend and all they want to do is party and they have no ambition and they're living lives that are directionless, maybe find some new friends. Like, that's an amazing thing about social media. Like, we just met a, less than a week ago and we had this amazing conversation. We've got a, you know, like, it's baffling to me that like we come from such different lives and yet we have so much in common. The internet is an amazing thing. You can meet incredible people on there, and sometimes they're like, there's no way to meet up with them in person, but sometimes they're in your city and you don't even know it. There's people all around you that will connect with you. Just put in a little effort and try to meet people. As hard as that may be, I'm introverted, so I know that it's it's not easy if you're a loner and you like to spend time alone, and like maybe that's the only reason you hang out with your friends, because it's scary to go out and meet new people. And you already have this group of people and maybe they're not the best, but that's more comfortable than putting yourself out there and trying to meet new people. And what if these new people don't accept you? What if they don't like you? That's maybe a chance you need to take. You know, take some risks, get out of your comfort zone, learn some new things, meet some new people, do whatever it takes to get from where you're at to where you want to go.
Okay.
So those would be my the two steps. Step two is like really long and there's very multifaceted, but I mean, it's not impossible. Nothing is impossible. It's entirely possible for you to completely rearrange your life in a very short period of time. And I know this because I've done it. And if I could do it, anybody can do it, because my hole that I dug for myself was incredibly deep, incredibly deep. And it took a while to get out of that hole, but I did it because I saw where my life was at and I wasn't okay with it. And I made the necessary changes. And anyone can do that. They just have to have a level of self awareness and they have to be willing to put in the effort to make the changes.